And we're back for yet another edition of Kopi with Chris. I've got someone special in the studio, someone that is synonymous with a particular company in Asia and worldwide, as a matter of fact, and also in the local community in Singapore, caused quite a stir not too long ago. And he is Joe Nguyen. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me.
And
love your show, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. That's nice to hear from you. What do you have in your cup?
My cup is water at the moment.
Bullshit.
I can add things to it, but yes.
You want to add anything to it? Joe is in my studio and drinking water is something I just cannot understand. But in any case, I got to, for the benefit of the viewers and listeners at home, Joe Nguyen is synonymous with a company called ComScore.
Yes.
In Asia, or in Singapore at least, people remember ComScore. When they think about ComScore, they remember Joe.
Well, I'm no longer there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm going to ask you, why did you leave?
I was there for 10 years. I grew the business from scratch, the first person in Asia. And times change. But honestly, U.S. companies don't really focus as much on Asia as they should.
Why?
In the digital sector, which is where we are, everything happens really fast in America. And the resources and the focus tends to be more where they think the money is. Whereas the growth, the development, and all the stuff is in Asia. And we all know that. That's why I'm here. I've been here 27 years.
Yeah. It's funny that American companies don't see more profitability coming out from the Asian continent.
Some do, obviously.
Okay.
Right.
But why not ComScore?
ComScore itself, there's a lot of different issues. But yeah, there was different management change, focus change. And within the digital sector, America always has more of spend. If you look at sort of ad spend globally, right? China is the top.
Yeah.
Followed by the U.S.
Right.
Followed by Japan.
Okay. So after 10 years of building from scratch, as you said, ComScore, and you reached the Senior Vice President of Asia Pacific, right?
Yep.
For ComScore. And after everything you've done, and out of the blue, Joe leaves ComScore. There's got to be a deeper reason besides that, right? Besides what you've just said. Were they letting people go?
Yes, no, certainly. There were a couple waves of layoffs, and when it was discussed on what would be the next one, and we were already what I considered pretty skeleton crew by that time. So I said, well, take me out.
Hang on a second, skeleton crew. What I've read was that you guys have about 1,700 staff.
By the time I left, there were 25 in in Asia.
Yeah.
But Asia maxed out at 50.
Really?
At any one time.
That's all there is in ComScore.
Yeah, our brand was a lot larger. When I remember talking to clients and I say, hey, how many people do you have in Asia? I said 50. And they're like, what? You guys are everywhere. And that's a lot of that is marketing. It's a lot of branding. It's a lot of people like me and my team getting out there.
Well, that's a lot of hard work, right? You just have a skeletal staff of 50 people, and then the brand grew so big. Just imagine the work you guys had to put in.
For years, I was doing 200 days of travel a year.
You lived out of your suitcase.
Yeah. In and out, weekends at home, try to get the weekends at home, and then out again. And Asia Pac, right? U.S., when they say Asia Pacific, they're like, oh, it's over there somewhere, right? They don't understand there's like 3 billion people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And sitting in Singapore, right? It's a 7-hour flight to Beijing.
Right.
That's northwest, if you will. It's a 6-7 hour flight to Japan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's northeast, if you will.
Thereabouts.
5 hours to 7 hours to India, depending on which part of India, because
Right.
India is huge.
Yeah.
And it's another 7 hours to Sydney.
And for all that travel, all that work you put in, and then you said, okay, America had to downsize. Am I right?
Yep.
Is that the reason?
Yep.
Why did you leave? They downsized. Were they ready to get rid of Joe?
That it was a decision. Do I cut people, or do I take myself out and see and keep the team together to be able to service and as long as we can?
So basically, you took one for the team.
Sure. Yeah. Again, there's no assurances to anything. I tried to make sure that nothing else happened, but then afterwards there were more layoffs. It's just you can't control it once you're gone.
So it happened anyway.
Yeah. And honestly, from my part, 10 years building a business, and it didn't just decline in 1 year. It started going down after 7 years. We were growing for the first 7 years, and then it started to decline for a number of different reasons. Sold off part of the business, and suddenly a lot of my revenue was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, I was like, okay, I probably should move on, because I'm watching what I build slowly disintegrate, and that's not a good feeling.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm sure it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a feeling, man. You spend 10 years living out of your suitcase. You build this thing, and only to have the guys in America going, oh, no, we're just going to make sure that the casualties will have to come out of Asia.
Yeah. Well, it came out of international as well. It came out of the U.S., but yes, there were, it was, if they wanted to maintain the revenue and all the stuff, they would have had to ramp up because it was declining.
Yeah. And, the funny thing is that I've read about, in two different magazines at least, the marketing magazine, they made it sound like Joe Nguyen sensed retrenchment coming and you made sure you got out first. But Mumbrella said something else. I'm going to quote this. It is believed Nguyen was offered the option of making redundancies at ComScore's APAC operations. He opted to leave instead on the condition that there would be no further reductions to his team. Is that statement true?
The word condition is not true.
Okay.
Right. It is. That is an article I read, and the word condition is not true. You can't do anything once you're gone. There's no condition. There's no contract that you can sign that says, do not do this after I leave. There's no such thing. Right? The word conditional is not there.
But you know something, I gotta tell you, man. I mean, when your name really, truly, people think about your name, they utter your name, it's all ComScore. Now that that's gone, how long has it been since you left?
1 year.
It's just been a year, huh?
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, 6 months I was kind of chilling out, and then I'm consulting right now for a couple of entities, industry organizations. For one is Trustworthy Accountability Group, which is anti-ad fraud, fighting criminal ad fraud, and I'm their consultant for APAC, Trustworthy Accountability Group, TAG, and I'm also helping the Asia Video Industry Association as well, a consultant.
Rewind that part again. The
Asian Video Industry Association. It used to be called CASBA, the Cable and Satellite Broadcast Association. It's been around since the 90s, right? With Discovery, Disney's, Turner, all that stuff.
So is this meant for you to just while away your time, or are you planning something bigger? You have something definitive that you're gonna launch soon?
Well, at 48 years old, I wasn't ready to retire.
You better not.
I can't. Got 3 grown kids. I need to go to college and all. So there aren't that many interesting roles, right? So doing consulting, which was something I've always thinking I would do when I retire anyway.
Okay.
If there's something interesting comes up, sure. If not, I'm actually also helping startups.
Okay.
I'm actually been on the board of a Sri Lankan online marketing company that I've invested in 13 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'm helping them a bit more, a couple startups, all that stuff. So
well, it sounds a lot like you're already working on your retirement job right now.
I would understand more now.
Semi-retirement.
Yeah, I mean, if I would get a corporate job, if one was interesting. But this, I do now understand what it would be like. Right.
Okay.
I mean, I have been working from home before COVID.
Right.
Right. I've been at coffee shops, at lounges, at all that kind of stuff for a year now. So 8 months before COVID. Right. So COVID wasn't really that much of a change, except for my wife is home a lot more. Different discussion.
I don't think we want this discussion to go that direction. We're not going to talk about you, Linda. Don't worry about it. Okay. So, but it really does sound to me that Joe has got out of ComScore, took one for the team, started doing stuff that so much sounds like I'm kind of semi-retired. Would that be the right description? Really?
No, I'm actually doing very interesting things. I can talk to anybody. I can do anything. There's no conflict of interest or anything like that.
Sounds like a retiree.
Yes, I'm taking courses. So like tonight, I have a course with MIT Sloan, a live Zoom course that goes from 10 to 1 a.m. And it's all this week. So this is the last day today. So after next week, I will have an executive certificate from MIT.
Wow.
And I've been taking AI, artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, management analytics.
Wow.
So now I'm not out of it because my brain is still plugged in, right? It's the technology is moving so fast and it's interesting. I love it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm still in it. I still think I can offer value. The difference is at what level.
Okay. Okay. So at this juncture, you just have nothing planned as to, like I said earlier, nothing definitive that, okay, I'm going to get into this thing and that's it. I'm going to build that. There's nothing like that at this moment.
Always have ideas. There are always ideas.
Right.
Whether at this stage in my life, would I do a startup from scratch? Probably not.
Okay. Too
Right.
damn tiring, huh?
I've done startups, right?
Yeah.
In the early days, all that kind of stuff. So I've been there, and I know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind helping startups.
Mm-hmm.
I have the experience that can help startups, but I don't need to, roll up my sleeves and
do one
day in,
on your
day out.
own.
Yeah, day in, 24/7. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Is it safe to assume that you're a tree hugger?
No, it is not safe.
You know why? Do you know why I asked that question?
Why, Chris?
Very simple, man. You're the guy, not too long ago, how long ago was this? About 2 years, 3 years ago? That caused a stir with that gorgeous white, not white anymore, I've seen it today,
Yeah.
Model S Tesla. It was the first electric car in Singapore, right?
There were other electric cars that were on the test bed.
Right.
There were BYDs, there were Leafs, there were all that stuff under the Singapore test bed before. But this was the first car on the road that an individual person got on without, some kind of scheme, without some, something that's.
Yeah. Okay. But it was individual ownership.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't on a scheme. Wasn't on a ride kind of thing, like ride sharing kind of stuff that's been going on with electric cars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're the first owner of an electric car on our roads, and it's a gorgeous. I got to tell you, I mean, I love that car. It's gorgeous. It's crazy. It's no sound when you're in the car. It's just nuts. And you brought that car into Singapore.
Yes.
Then there was this big hoo-ha that went
Yep.
out. Right? Can you tell us more about that hoo-ha?
I wasn't trying to cause trouble. I'm a
Yeah,
PR.
right.
I'm a PR.
You
right?
didn't- you-
I have.
Fuck off. You're trying to tell me that you didn't see that shit coming. Come on.
Not at the beginning, let's say. Right? That
Really?
wasn't my intention.
Okay.
Right? I never thought I would be the first to bring in the Model S or a Tesla car. Right? I thought that there are other people who are rich and wealthy who can get something from Hong Kong, ship it, and get it through.
Okay.
And by the time I got it through, suddenly I was the first. and I started to figure out why, right? How? I mean, yes, there were other people who were trying to bring that car in, or a Model S in, and they failed.
And how come you managed to get it in?
It was an interesting, if you will, bureaucratic process. Right?
Okay.
So
what was that? What was that process?
So the everyone that tried to bring it in would go to Hong Kong, buy a new car, put it on the boat, ship it here, and then try to put it through the system. When you bring a new car into Singapore, it needs to undergo a homologation process, which needs documentation from the manufacturer that says that it fits certain build standards and other standards, right? I don't know all of it.
Right.
And Tesla do not give homologation certificates for cars in Hong Kong. So the people bringing in do not have those certificates.
Right.
So Singapore didn't approve them.
Now, how did you manage to get
So
yours?
mine was a second-hand car.
Okay.
As in, I bought it from a friend in Hong Kong. Barely less than 1,000 kilometers on it. It's fine. And my intention was to a second-hand car would have a lower value and lower parf. And on parf, okay, if you don't you know cars, right?
Yeah,
if you don't understand the value of a car in Singapore, the parf is what kills you.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks COE. It's not COE.
Yeah.
It's parf.
Right.
Right. And I brought it in secondhand, and it goes through a different process. Secondhand cars that have been in other markets, like Hong Kong, don't need homologation certificates. They need to be tested. So by a number of different organizations. So the guys that helped me bring it in.
You mean hang on, sorry. Tested by a number of organizations in Singapore or Hong Kong?
In Singapore.
In Singapore. Okay.
So one of the testing, and they had to get a certificate because the process needs some testing. So one of the tests was by the TUV organization, the guys that actually look at electric appliances. If you look at a lot of electric appliances, you see in the back, it's TUV.
Yeah. Okay, I recognize that.
Yeah.
But those are for appliances, mate, not for cars.
So they went in and looked at the car and gave the certificate, and it was accepted.
Well, how would they know? It's the first of its kind, right?
I have no idea. It's a German company. They know everything. I have no idea. But they certified it, and that was one of the documentation. And it took 6 months, right? It wasn't, the whole process took 6 months.
Mate, these got the guys that would certify a freaking vacuum cleaner or something like that, right?
Right. Appliances, right? I mean, like fridges,
What the fuck?
It's an appliance. Come on, a Tesla's an appliance.
Okay, that was funny. Okay, who else have got to certify a car?
Well, Vicom.
That I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened? You see, Vicom would look at cars that has engines in them.
So nowadays they're fine. At that time, they did not know what to do.
Yeah. So what did they do?
For 2 weeks, they did nothing because the car was sent there for them to look at. And I kept on bugging the guys that were helping him, like, what's going on? And he said, you need to go there. So I went to Vicom, and the car is sitting there. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, we're supposed to test it. I'm like, well, do you know what you're supposed to test for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's no emissions. There's none of that. And then the second time I went there, they kind of wheeled out this old machine that they're going to test. They're supposed to test like the efficiency, right? That was the whole point
of what?
of the car.
Emissions, you mean?
Efficiency.
Okay, efficiency of the whole car, as in your tires and usual, kind of like Vicom inspection kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But part of it is efficiency. How efficient is the engine, or the motor, in this case, the electric motor? And that's how because they follow the UN ECE, the European. So Singapore was supposed to follow that.
Right. The
And
standards.
The standards
Right.
on particularly they have standards for electric cars.
Right.
Right. So they're supposed to follow. So they're supposed to test how efficient that car was by running it on, draining it and running it and stuff like that, and testing how long it takes to charge up. Right.
Okay.
So Anyway,
It's basically, I'm going to get to know you, Tesla, because I don't know you. So I'm going to see how long it's going to take for your batteries to discharge and how long it's going to
and
take
how
to charge.
efficient was it, right? Because that would affect the CEVS rebate. Okay. So
What's that? What's CEVS?
So you know how if low emission cars
Yeah.
were supposed to get more rebates,
Okay.
and I automatically thought that electric car, I get no emission.
There's zero
I'm gonna
emissions,
get
man.
I should get the $20,000 rebate, right?
Right.
And through the testing and the way they tested, which I knew was wrong because I mean I'm an engineer by training. Right?
Okay.
I'm not an engineer now, but I can look at the machine. It's really old, the one that they wheeled out.
Right.
And I was like, that's not the standard, because I've looked up the standard. You need to measure correctly.
Uh-huh.
And they did the test anyway, and it came out very inefficient. As in, I can't remember the exact number, something like 400 watt hours per kilometer or something like that. And the rating was actually half of that. The official rating for the Tesla Model S by the US EPA and by the European
Standards. Yeah.
They were rated already, and they were
Okay.
half of that. And the numbers came out at 400. And I said, that's wrong. Right? And why am I being charged anyway? Because instead of getting the rebate because of the inefficiency of the car, I was charged $15,000.
So you didn't get a rebate, but you had to pay
Yeah.
$15,000.
The delta was $35,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So that I didn't, obviously I said this is wrong.
Couldn't you go for a second opinion? Maybe another inspection center or something like that? Must it be Vicom? Or would those guys? Do you think would they have better equipment to get something?
Well,
more, get a better efficient
they're not
reading.
saying that they were wrong. There's no admission that anyone was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it just that's what it is.
So you paid the 15 grand.
I argued. I wrote to my ministers.
MPs, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you write to the minister as well?
Well, I wrote to my MPs, all
Okay.
6 of MPs in my GRC.
Okay.
And they routed me back to LTA and said, that's what it is. I wrote in again. I said, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
They ignored the second one. And it was already 6 months by then, after all the testing, after all the stuff. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to get on the road. Right? And, don't want to fight anymore. Right? And I happened to be somewhere where I ran into a journalist from Tech TV,
Okay.
Raghil Bhagat. And I was telling him the story, and he's like, I've got a story here. So then, he put the story out on a Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And by Friday, right, it's gone around the world. Jalopnik, I mean, I'm sure you're a petrol head, you know what Jalopnik is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One of the big sites that on cars.
Yeah.
Malaysia picked it up, obviously CNBC, everything picked it up. And then I think Friday evening was when Elon Musk called the Prime Minister. And Elon called the Prime Minister. Apparently,
You're shitting me.
Yeah.
Over you and your car.
Well, see, Elon is not going to support me or anything like that. Elon was just like, I've seen the results. My car is not that inefficient.
Yeah. He told the PM that.
Yeah.
How do you know this? That he told the PM that?
I mean, some of the reports and everything.
They
but
knew
his
about it?
issue, I mean, I've also talked to Tesla as well.
Okay.
Right? They contacted me.
And they told
over
you
the
what happened between Elon Musk and our Prime Minister.
I think this is public information. Elon says it's not that inefficient.
Okay.
Right. His beef is not with anything else. His beef was like, the test is wrong. Because he's an engineer. I mean,
He built the damn thing.
Yeah, Elon is,
Tesla
not,
belongs to Elon Musk.
Yeah, he doesn't care about me or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it's just and so I think the Prime Minister told him that he'll look into it.
And then what happened? Did he really look into it?
I live in Ang Mo Kio, GRC.
Okay.
So one of the 6 MPs that received my email was a PMO.
Right, for sure.
Yes.
So
if you look into it, I've done the right thing. I wrote into my MPs when I was displeased twice.
Yeah.
And then I still paid for it, and I told Tech TV what happened.
After that phone call that the Tesla boys in the US told you that occurred between Elon Musk and our Prime Minister, and PM said that he'll look into it. Did he do that?
I don't know.
Did you get any
Oh,
communication?
of course not. No, nothing.
That's what I was asking.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What do you think I was asking? I was asking about that.
Nothing. I mean, there's a lot
There
of
was
what,
there was nothing. No communication. Nothing.
no communication. I mean, when I did the interviews, when I all that stuff afterwards, I was really saying LTA was just not ready. Right, they were just not ready for this. Even though they say we're ready for EVs and all this stuff, they were just not ready. Singapore as a whole was caught, off guard. Right, Singapore has an idea of what electric cars should be and how it should come into Singapore.
And
So
what that? What do you think that idea is?
that
Do you
idea
know?
is what Blue SG is right now.
Okay.
Right, so that would be a co-op.
A co-op.
People, their idea is that people would not want electric cars, right? Because of the number of reasons, the range, just the different usage. So their idea was that it wouldn't. What happened was Tesla made an electric car that people wanted, that was desirable. And so, people like me, I'm a geek, I'm a tech head, I'm not a petrol head, right? And so I just said, I'll get it, right? So people desired it, and they made a car that was mainstream.
Well, okay. And when you say that Singapore is not ready for because of range and all, is that true? I mean, your Tesla, for example, your Model S.
Yep.
How is the range good as opposed
I
to
charged it up at home last night up to 375 kilometers.
That's pretty decent, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't charge it fully too. At full, it's like 450 or something like that.
So it's not really true that electric cars have got a shorter range.
Yeah, I think at a certain point in time, that was an issue, right? But now with all the new cars that come out, the I-Pace, the Jaguar I-Pace.
Yeah.
BMW has the i8 and the i3.
Yeah.
Nissans, all the stuff. The range are easily 200 or 300 kilometers upwards. So range is not really an issue. And particularly Singapore is a small country.
So Joe, looking at your Tesla and going through hell and high water to bring it over, and then after that, all the things you got to go through. But when you look at Singapore as a small little island, I mean, when I drive around, I see that there are not many, or maybe one or two as far as I've observed so far. I mean, I'm not really in the news. I didn't really catch the news to which malls have these electrical car charging stations, right?
Yep.
I know in Kampong Glam there's about 2 or 3. I've seen those. So it's not really very much available where the infrastructure is concerned for electric cars in Singapore. Am I right?
Yeah, they're trying to build it. There are private companies. Green Lots is one. I can charge with Blue SG.
Right.
I can charge a number of places.
Right.
But yeah, that's not enough. I mean, the recent budget announcement, they said they were going to put more in.
Okay. That sounds like a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the little debate that came out of that was that they were going to remove IC cars by 2040, internal combustion engine cars.
Right.
And what really they were saying is pure internal combustion engine cars. So hybrids were okay. And they clarified that later, that plug-in hybrids were part of the cleaner cars.
Okay.
So not getting rid of pure, of all cars except for all electric cars.
But you must have heard about a deal that almost happened, didn't happen. In recent news, I've read, Dyson was supposed to have started an electric car factory in Singapore, right?
Yep.
Then it didn't go through. Yeah, but what's the deal? I mean, why don't you think that if you have Tesla, they're already doing it, and they just open up a factory in Singapore, wouldn't that be a lot easier?
Well, a factory in Singapore is production for other overseas, not for Singapore necessarily.
Okay.
first of all, and for Dyson to make a move into that, it is a whole new factory, a whole new product line.
Yeah.
And honestly, the biggest electric vehicle car manufacturers are Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
It is not Tesla.
Oh.
They're competing with China.
And how are those cars, man? The electric cars from China. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I don't know. I've seen the BYDs around in Singapore, but in China there are many of them. They look good. I've seen some of the videos. And
Aesthetically,
stuff
they look good.
yeah.
Honest.
The thing about Teslas that people don't realize is actually you've seen the screen in my car, that 21-inch screen.
Oh man, that's a crazy screen.
Yeah.
It goes down the console just like that, curves down, right?
Controls
Jeez.
everything in there.
Yeah.
This is a car that's built by software designers, so it's integrated all the way through.
Right.
Into the brakes, the creep speed, everything, the door, all controlled by that.
Okay. By that console.
By that console. So the whole car is actually integrated into electronics, which is actually connected over LTE to my phone.
Wow.
Right. So that's why they have the summon mode. They have a lot of things. So whereas all the other car manufacturers are building a car that they already have and bolting on and trying to build software for it.
Okay.
So the experience is completely different.
Right.
So that's
but
why
is it working out?
It's not the same. I mean, that's why I would say Tesla is still a few years ahead, because they're so far ahead on the software and integration with the actual hardware of the car.
So when you bought the Model S, the Tesla Model S, was it because you're a tree hugger, or is it because it's the aesthetics, or is it because, as you said, you're a geek freak? I mean, you're a gadget guy, you're a geek.
I am.
You know?
I am a gadget guy. I had the first iPhone when it came out. I had all those toys, and it is a gadget. It's the most expensive gadget I ever had.
Don't say, yeah.
But I mean, I'm not a petrol head. The car before this one was a Wish, right? A Toyota Wish.
From a Wish to a Model S, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't buy it necessarily for the green factor. I mean, yes, it obviously there's no emissions and everything that contributed to it, but it's a freaking fast car, as you've
right?
Yeah,
I still have the little clink in my neck because of that. Yeah,
the acceleration is just it's just an engineering wonder. It really is. And when it first came out, I remember, online, I accidentally said, are you green? And I actually said yes or something like that. And I got flack for it.
What kind of flack did you get?
Well, if you're really green, you should be riding a bicycle. If you're really concerned about the environment, you should stop eating meat, right? Because cows generate farts.
You're shitting me.
Oh, yeah. So the term is not green. Right, the term is sustainability.
Okay.
Right, humans are not going to go back into caves. We're not going to go back to the farms and desert the cities and become what green thinks. Right, the green movement would we're practical.
Yeah.
Right? We're pragmatic.
You and me. We are the ones that love our bovine. Give us red meat any day.
Yep. Keto diet.
Give us the cow, man. Damn it. Yeah, I know. I mean, I really don't care what other people out there got to say about this shit, but this is our preference, right? We like our cows. Now, since you're not a tree hugger, let's talk about something. It's general, okay? Yeah,
okay.
You confirmed it. You're not a tree hugger. You love the car because of its an engineering wonder, right? You love the gadgets behind it and all that, and the brains that went behind the development of this car. But when we talk about climate, the climate crisis that we're in, and a lot of people have been using this. They've been given a sort of a ultimatum. Is the world really going to end in 12 years? Or what, 11, since we've already wasted a year? What do you think?
I think humans are geniuses. We have invented ourselves out of a lot of things that could have ended humanity over
Such as?
the nuclear bomb.
It's still an existential threat, right? To humanity.
Well, hey, when we grew up, that was not I mean, we were worried.
You mean you're not worried now?
Well, less from a nuclear fallout and all the stuff. But back then, during the Cold War, when we were growing up in the 80s,
Yeah.
that was the music
Yeah.
reflected that, right?
Well-
Everything in the 80s was actually very nuclear related. End of the world.
Name one. You're
99,
right.
re-
You're
99 red balloons.
Ah, 99 red
Russians
balloons.
love their children too.
You know, you were okay for the benefit of everyone. Okay, watching the show, you're Vietnamese American or American Vietnamese? Which one?
VBA. The people say ABC and all that stuff. American born Chinese. I'm VBA, Vietnam born American.
Vietnam. So you're Vietnamese American. I can never understand this, man. I'm a typical Singaporean boy. You know,
I've lived
it's
in
so hard to
Singapore
understand
longer
this.
than I've lived in any other city or country.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that make me? I have a Vietnamese citizenship. Sorry, I have a U.S. citizenship, and I was born in Vietnam, but I've lived here longer than
No.
anywhere else.
I suppose that makes you a global citizen then.
Yeah, I don't need to identify. Yes, I have a passport, but I am. Yeah, I've caught Singaporeans treating me different because of my accent. I haven't lost the accent. Right?
No, you have not.
And they think, they naturally think that, I've been here for a few years. I've been here 27 years.
Mm-hmm. 27 years in Singapore.
Yeah.
But your heart, is it still very American? Do you still love that country of yours where you came from?
I love the thought of it. It is the land of opportunity. I still think it is the land of opportunity.
Okay.
It's harder now,
Right.
obviously, right, with immigration issues and all that stuff. But it was, and I still think it is a land of opportunity. And I had, I had the benefit of taking that opportunity, right?
But clearly you're an ethnic minority in the U.S.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's happening now in America about Black Lives? Black Lives Matter. What's your take on that? Being a person who's in the ethnic minority, one of the ethnic minorities in the U.S., what's your take on Black Lives Matter?
Asians have it easier to some extent, but I think it is the issue is not the all lives matter and all the stuff. The issue is systemic racism,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where there's just historical,
Mm-hmm.
where blacks were slaves,
Okay.
right? And there is whether the statues remind all that kind of stuff. It is systemic.
Okay.
It's how people treat blacks. And there are actually communities, Asian communities in the U.S. right now, trying to also understand that themselves. It's not just whites trying to say that there's systemic racism
Right.
from whites to blacks. There's
Right.
also Asians to blacks, and they're trying to address that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Asians to blacks.
Because it is systemic. It's in the system.
So you believe that it's the right thing that's happening right now? Black Lives Matter in the U.S.
Yeah, it's good to bring up that cause, and I think I don't. It's not a quick fix, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of shocked when they took out Gone with the Wind from Netflix, and it was like, being Singaporean, right?
Yeah.
We're in this country, we're a little island, we're multiracial, and when we look at this and we go, okay. And we're trying to, people need to try to understand this. You're an American citizen, so that's the reason why I'm asking. So maybe our local viewers, when they watch our show, when they watch my show, they have a perspective from someone who belongs to the ethnic minority in the U.S. And being an American, your opinion and your take on this really does matter because Singaporeans need to understand all this as well, and not just look at it and go, all lives matter, which actually that's not it. It is about, as you said, systemic racism against the blacks, and it's been going on for a hell of a long time, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I have an American citizen who's Vietnamese American sitting down with me, having lived in Singapore 27 years, to give his take on what this is. That's the reason why I ask. So can I ask you something? You said you came in from Vietnam You landed in Kuantan, pull out Tengah for a year. Then you ended up in Baltimore in the U.S. And you had your education there all the way to Princeton.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you've been in Singapore 27 years. I really don't know. This is going to be interesting. What sports do you support? Being an American, Americans.
What do I watch?
Americans have like crazy sports like baseball and NFL and all that.
I watch when I can. I missed football for many years, right?
You're talking about American football.
Because it just wasn't available here. By the time it was available, I didn't have that tribal affiliation with any particular team.
Wait. You used an interesting term. You said tribal affiliation.
Yep.
How'd that happen? Is that a common description you use in the U.S.?
No.
Tribal.
I've been here. I have a lot of friends who like EPL.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
And it is tribal, right? And the people who are there.
Never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hear any one of us going, "Oh, I have a tribal affiliation with Liverpool." Although those guys do, Liverpool supporters.
Oh, how would you describe it then?
Do look like a bunch of savages, but.
How would you describe it then? It is tribal.
I don't know. I would just say, I support this football club, and that's about the size of it. I'm like, tribal affiliation, dude. That's one hell of a description.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you would say you lost the tribal affiliation.
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up in Baltimore, we had the Colts, the Baltimore Colts, and they actually left overnight and went to Indianapolis. Okay. So for a while, we didn't have a team. So I was already in college when the Baltimore Ravens got formed again.
Right.
They were the Browns, and they again left Cleveland and went to Baltimore and became the Ravens. And then they were winning, but I didn't have that affiliation.
Okay, because you've been missing the games on
live and I wasn't
TV.
there. I didn't watch it live and all that stuff.
So since you've been around for 20 plus years, I mean, and living in Singapore, have you like gotten some interest or liking for some other stuff that is popular in Singapore that people like us, people like me want?
As in spectating sport?
Yeah, of course.
I was supporting Chelsea for a while when I could follow.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then now you're not supporting them anymore. They just.
I just didn't watch. I just don't watch that often anymore.
Really? They just beat Man City last night, 2-1, and gave Liverpool a damn trophy.
I was working for Millennium Copthorne Hotels, and they have the hotel that is part of the stadium. So I went and watched matches.
You mean you mean in the hotel?
No, on the stands, but because it was affiliated
in Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
You were actually at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because I was there for business and stuff like that. Because Millennium Hotels, CDL, they own hotel. They own that hotel. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So what sports do you play now?
Play?
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit old. I was doing MMA, but I hurt myself just because I took Taekwondo for many years. And when I tried to do Thai boxing, I would just have the wrong. The wrong stature, the wrong way of kicking.
Right. And you got hurt.
And I got hurt. So
you're not doing anything now. I mean, no particular sport you're doing.
I work out like you do. I'm playing Beat Saber. That's a sport. I mean, I'm playing VR. That's a sport.
Okay. Esports, you mean? That's esports.
It's not esports. It's just exercise. It's like when the Wii first came out and everybody was doing it.
It's not exercise. That's esports, man.
I'm not sitting. I'm standing up, running around, and smacking things. Oh, you come over, and we'll put you on, and you will get tired out.
Moving along. Now, and it's interesting because, again, you're an American citizen. So I'm going to ask you, something exciting is going to happen very soon, right? And this part, we've gone into this little segment that's quite a staple in Kopi with Chris. It's called a quick fire segment. Okay. So I'm going to be asking you questions. You give me quick answers. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Trump or Biden?
Biden.
Why?
Because he's not Trump.
Good answer. This one I know, but anyway, let's try this out, yeah? Favorite drink?
Whiskey.
Single malt or blended?
Single malt. I do drink blend, but single malt.
Scottish or Japanese or...
I have a mix. I think the Glenmorangie has been my normal these days.
Your go-to drink,
I do
huh?
like, yeah. I've drunk about 10 bottles over COVID.
What drink does Joe hate?
Yogurt.
That's not a drink, dude.
Yogurt drinks.
Oh, come on. One more. Just some more. Some more questions. Quick fire questions, okay? It's supposed to be quick fire. I'm not supposed to be dragging this out. This is my bad. What's the favorite band that your son listens to?
Oh gosh, there's too many. I have no idea because there's a lot of stuff. It used to be Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Yep.
Linus likes Lynyrd Skynyrd?
That was one of his favorite songs for a while.
You mean
Freebird.
Freebird or Sweet Home Alabama?
Freebird was his favorite for a few months.
Wow.
I don't know what it is now because
So
there's a
he's
lot
an
of
old soul, man.
we shared Spotify accounts for a while, and I was inundated with dubstep and all that kind of stuff. Oh my god! But then my taste started to influence a little bit.
Time Daddy steps in to make sure of that, because I make sure of that with my boy, because he's on my Spotify account too. Okay, what's your favorite band?
I would have to say Journey.
Wow, good. That's cool. Were you at a concert when they were here?
No,
Really?
I can't remember why, but I couldn't.
You probably weren't in town or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at a concert. Wasn't as hot, I can tell you that. Better to listen to them on recording. Sorry, Journey. Okay. I mean, as long as Steve Perry's not there, okay.
Exactly.
Enough
Exactly.
Said. Enough said,
Exactly.
man. Your least favorite band?
Don't really.
Okay.
Haven't really thought about it. Right.
Something that you would, let's say you turn on the radio and the song comes out and you go, oh, I gotta switch channel. Or switch stations. Anything?
Canto pop.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be listening to the Chinese station.
No,
to
I
begin
mean
with.
my wife does.
Oh, okay. Explains a lot. Explains a lot.
She doesn't put it on or anything like that, but yeah, I mean it's on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
I would prefer, but I'll leave it. Yeah.
That explains it. All right. Now, if you were to wake up tomorrow and find that you're a wanted man, what crime would it be for?
Driving a Tesla.
That would make you wanted, huh? You felt like a wanted man.
Yeah.
Really? Did you?
I felt that I was probably being noticed more and tracked more, if you will.
Well, dude, come on. That's a good kind of notice. If you get on the road of a
No,
Tesla,
I don't mean
it's
by
a
the
head
normal
turner.
people. I mean, I'm a guest in this country, and I have to recognize that.
Okay, Chris is not going to get you in trouble because you're having freaking coffee with me. One more, just a few more questions.
Sure, go on.
Do you believe that the world will ever end?
Not anytime soon.
Will it ever end?
Of course. I mean, the Earth doesn't last that long. I mean, the sun doesn't last that long. But yes, it will.
If you're talking about the sun going supernova, you mean?
Yeah.
So so you're saying that, because my next question would be, how do you think it will end? Because of the supernova of the sun, or because we're going to be hit by an asteroid, or is it because climate change is going to get so bad?
No, I think again humans will invent ourselves out of it. Now, hopefully, when I talk about sustainability, that we actually will control ourselves and not, overpopulate.
That's provided the human race doesn't destroy
I think
itself.
it will. I think the humanity will probably go towards what we call the singularity,
Okay.
where there's so much artificial intelligence and so much that we're developing at such a quick pace that, as like Elon Musk points out, that we're going to have embedded, we're going to be cyborgs, right? And so the evolution of humans will be, the inked, non-implanted humans will be the the non-evolved version of humanity, where humanity will have brain implants, chips, so that we can think faster, do more things.
So that's the end of the world.
That will,
Or the end of humanity.
That's humanity's next evolution. What do we do with that? Are we going to travel to the stars? Are we going to go out? So it's possible we could. There's a lot more discoveries to be made in physics and the hardcore sciences that will allow us to do all this stuff.
I think it's you know what you just said. I just think it's amazing that the world focuses on stuff like what you've said, artificial intelligence, and electric cars, and instead of putting our energies and funding and all of our talents into things that we know that we have to take care of first. For example, this virus, preventing the next pandemic, or even something that, and this is real, near Earth objects, an asteroid crashing into the Earth. Because right now, no one has talked about, much less talk about, or come close to an idea of what we're going to do if an asteroid is spotted, on a trajectory into a collision course with Earth. And no one's done anything about that. So it's kind of amazing we're talking about how we're going to put implants in our brain and stuff like that, when we should be doing something about something we know the probability of it happening is a lot higher.
Bureaucracy is always, doesn't think that far in advance, right? That's the whole thing with climate change, right? When things are changing. But when push comes to shove, will we invent ourselves? If an asteroid comes tomorrow, not. But if we have enough notice, we are sending, SpaceX, right? We're sending stuff up there finally again.
Yeah.
We're planning to go to Mars.
Yeah.
So will we have enough rockets ready when time comes? Will we send up a nuclear bomb to move that asteroid off its trajectory?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Exactly.
It is possible. Are we building technology? Slowly.
Yeah,
if it's tomorrow, we can't do anything. You're right.
Yeah. If it's tomorrow, we can't do anything. We're sitting ducks, man. And that scares the shit out of me. I'm telling you that.
It's the end of the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, that's one. Since you put it that way. But Joe, I just cannot bear to even watch a simulation of an asteroid hitting the Earth. I just can't bear it because it is downright fucking scary, man. Oh, that's some scary shit.
But you have to look at the chances of that happening versus you getting hit by a car tomorrow, or versus
sure.
or catching COVID.
Sure, but this year alone, how many flybys did we have of asteroids and meteorites and comets? Quite a bit.
Honestly, you're right. But
quite a bit.
I'm unlike you. I don't spend my time. I'm an optimist. I don't spend my time worrying about things I cannot control.
It doesn't make me a pessimist either. I just wonder about having that big, coming at me at Mach 2, a tsunami that's higher than the mountains hitting you at Mach 2, or getting fried just like that, because an asteroid hits. I mean, I'm not thinking about it every day, but just sometimes when you think about it, shit, man. We are like open for destruction. And I think the human race would just sit down and think about what are the things we should be putting our efforts into solving today.
There are people who do it, but as a race, we're not. But at the same time, when I'm talking about the speed at which technology is changing, and the artificial intelligence and all that stuff, you could solve things a lot faster.
Okay.
Right. That's, as I said, that would be the evolution. I think we will invent ourselves out of it. Again, I'm an optimist, and I love technology. So.
Well, it's good to know.
I'm hoping that the kids. It's not us. It's not this generation. It's the next generation. The next generation. We as a species have moved really fast in the last few hundred years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. really, really fast. I mean, it's this little thing about all of a sudden the human race and civilization just went, phew, just like that.
And it's getting faster.
Yeah, it is. Last question. Be honest. What was the last thing you did on the internet that you're not proud of?
Reddit.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anymore.
You just gonna say Reddit and leave it like that and leave the whole damn thing hanging?
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
What did you do with
The
Reddit?
front page of the internet. You can find anything there, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Thanks for being on the show, Joe. This has been Kopi with Chris. Thank you for joining us. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, remember it is always best to take care of things in the environment. Make sure you get rid of your plastics and all that. Yeah, save the environment. And if you can, buy yourself a Tesla. I drive diesel. See you next week.